Hey, welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast, everybody. Hopefully, you're having a great week. I gotta come with a new opening because I think I say that the same thing every week. So, but it's just easy to do. It's middle of the week, so it's just easy to to say it and go. But yeah, hopefully everyone's having a good week. And if you're in the north, I'm hoping much like Detroit is, it's a little warmer right now. And maybe you got out to the range, maybe you got out, and even played a little bit. Maybe you got to the course, whatever. Hopefully, it's in your future soon. Because we're talking about it. I got out and played, so I'm pretty excited. It was pretty fun. But before I do that, first let you know, this episode is brought to you by Titleist Voki SM8 wedges. You guys know I've been playing SM8s for a while now. But brought to you by the SM8 wedges. Uh, a great wedge. They got a new thing where they push the center of gravity like in front of the face to basically help ease squaring up the club to the target. Which I mean everybody knows with chipping and wedge shots, it's so important to hit it close. They put kind of a big chunk of tungsten out in the toe and some other stuff, and basically the center of gravity is like literally in front of the face. So, but upon that, good feel. They have a ton of sole grinds for every type of player, every type of condition, every shot you want to hit. They've got something that's probably going to work for you. And the shape is compact and looks great. Like I said, I've been a big fan of my SM8s for a while now. Pretty much end of last year in through now, so I don't think they're going anywhere right at the moment. So still in my bag, but tons of options and tour validated. So if you want, go to Voki.com, check out the SM8 wedges, and see where you can try some for yourself because they are really good. But yeah, so this or last week on Wednesday, I actually got out and played. A buddy of mine, my buddy John, hit me up and said, "Hey man, let's go play some golf." It's supposed to be, like high 50s or something like that, or 50 degrees. I don't remember what it was, but it was sunny. It was, not too windy, all that. So we ran out, and it was interesting. There was, a few courses were open, a few weren't, but we got out. If you're familiar with Metro Detroit, there's a golf courses. There's a nice course called Maple Lane Golf Course, and it's I wish I could remember the slogan. It's something like the most well known tradition in Metro Detroit or something like that. Or it's got a weird name, but it is not considered a championship golf course by any means. But it's fun. They were open, and then the course was actually in decent shape. Now the greens were extremely slow, extremely bumpy, but the course itself was actually in good shape. It wasn't super wet. It wasn't super soggy. I was kind of shocked. I actually wore an older pair of shoes thinking that it was just going to be a swamp out there. And I was a little bummed because I had a couple of new pairs I would have loved to try out. And instead, unfortunately, I wore some old ones, and it didn't matter because it was pretty nice out. So it was walking only, which totally fine with. Actually, when it's a little chillier like that, I don't mind it being walking only because it kind of keeps you warm. And it was overall just a really fun experience. So went out there, and unfortunately, I didn't have most of the gear, all the new clubs and stuff were sitting at the office, and I don't go into the office a ton right now. So unfortunately, I kind of had to put my bag together from what I have here, which I mean isn't necessarily a bad thing. But had the so I'll start from the top. I went driver. I went the Srixon ZX5 with the Mitsubishi Tensei 1K, and then I had that Homna TR21 3 wood in the bag. I had the TR21 Big LB 3 wood in the bag. I had the Srixon ZX utility or hybrid 19 degree, and then basically 5 through pitching or 5 iron ZX7, 6 iron Apex Pro, 7 iron through 9 iron ZX7, and then my Voki wedges and Cleveland RTX Zip Core wedge. So the usual kind of thing. And then putter wise, I'll talk about putter wise because we'll talk about it here. I had a Mizuno putter in the bag, which I know everybody kind of thought I think that I would have had the Odyssey in the bag, but I had this Mizuno M-Craft that I wanted to try out as well. So I've got it out there beyond just the putting green, my putting mat and a putting green. I've actually got it on the course, which was kind of nice. But yeah, what's in the bag was pretty standard. The the kind of the sure thing in a sense. The irons were great. I mean the SM7s or the ZX7s I really like. They're really good. Even out there, which it wasn't crazy soft. It was actually weird. So it was like the ground had like an inch of like soft typical soft dirt, and then right underneath that like inch was like still frozen, pretty hard ground. So divots were very interesting because you'd kind of hit the ground and it would, the club would kind of get through and then all of a sudden hit that frozen section and just kind of bounce back up. But overall, it was really good, and it was fun to play. Like I said, the course is in much better shape than I thought it was going to be in, and overall, honestly, I played pretty well. Other than really 2 holes, I played pretty well, and honestly, I went through, and in the beginning of the year for me is always kind of like that. It's you either go out, you have 0 expectations, and you play lights out, or I go out there and I overthink everything or whatever, and I play absolutely terrible. So this was closer to it wasn't lights out, but it was closer to that. But yeah, it was busy. It wasn't crazy packed, but it was busy. We played with 2 other guys. My buddy John and I played with 2 other guys, and they were super nice. And we just kind of played. You waited a little bit on the guys in front of us, but not a ton. And it was a good day. It was overall pretty nice out. Some things I really like. There's some things that I might have to change in the bag. We'll see. But it was like I said, it was a good day, and it hit some really good shots out there. So the big thing that I was kind of surprised at is how decent my wedge game was for as early as in the year. Because usually that's your wedge game and your putting are the 2 things that are just the first to be are the hardest to come back. I think when you first get back into it. And if you're listening and you live in like Florida or California or Texas or somewhere down south where you play all year, you probably don't understand it. But if you don't play all winter and then you go out, the hardest thing to do is hit wedge shots and putt. It takes a few rounds of practice, all that, to get all that stuff like that touch and those feel shots back down. And like I said, my wedge game was actually a little better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, the first hole, short par 4, hit a 3-wood, or hit I had the new level NLU 001 4-iron in the bag. Hit that off the tee and just hit it, just a little bit right, just kind of little right, just missed the fairway, which it was kind of hard to tell fairway and rough at this point of the year because everything's just kind of one length and matted down. But it was just in the rough on the right, and I can't remember I think I lasered it like 75 yards or something like that, or maybe a little less, and hit my 56, and just the shot I hit I actually thought was kind of long, and it was literally dead on, just like right at the pin, and hit, and actually kind of spun back a little bit, but it was really like I said, that right out of the gate, hitting a good wedge shot in there, I was just like, wow, that it felt like that ball was going way long. It didn't, and the rest of the round I hit some pretty decent wedge shots. I mean, I wasn't clanking it off pins or anything like that, but I was getting it on the green. I was getting it close enough, and like I said, putting was tough just because it was so bumpy and so long. But overall it was a great experience, and like I said, I got to get out and actually play some holes, which was great. So I'm gonna try to get out again this week because it's supposed to be warm again. So I'm gonna try to get out today again and play a few holes. We got 12 holes in last time, and I'll see if I can get at least 9 in today, and see if get a few more and try a few more clubs. Again, I still have a bunch of stuff at the office, so I've got a bunch of clubs that I literally don't that I'm basically not able to hit yet. Like I really want to get the ping stuff out on the course and some of that, but I just don't have them with me. So I will get to it. It's just a matter of getting there. So little update on, I know I talked about last week about Apex Pro. And Apex Pro was honestly, like I said, I threw the 600 in the bag, brought it out there, left the ZX7 600 at home, so I couldn't even. So I had to hit that club when I hit it, and I hit it a handful of times. And honestly, the performance of that Apex Pro is really good. It definitely flies a little higher than ZX7, but it definitely is. But it's a little longer as well. I would want to say that at least in the 6-iron to what I expected the ZX7 and compared to the rest of the bag, I would say that thing could be, for some player, it could be up to maybe half a yard, half a club longer. Maybe 5 yards for me. I was really shocked. I mean, the first shot I hit, I was kind of like on that border of like, do I hit 5 or 6? It was I don't remember the exact yardage, but it was a little into the wind, and I was like, honestly, let's just hit the 6-iron. Because it was like the 3rd hole. And I was like, I don't know how many times I'm gonna hit the club, so let's hit it now, because I only play 9 holes and I only hit it once or twice. So I hit it there and actually hit it under the front of the green, and I was kind of shocked because I thought it was going to come up short. I did hit a really good ball, kind of flushed it, and honestly, it performed really well. The ball really does. It goes a little higher. but not crazy. I mean, it's still a pretty penetrating trajectory, but it is a little higher than ZX7. And honestly, that cup face, that AI face, definitely it comes off there a little hotter than ZX7 does. But like I said, hit that green, and I didn't expect to. I thought it would come up a little short, and I was fine with that. Hit the front of the green and actually had a putt, which was really nice. And turf interaction was pretty good. I wasn't, coming from the Srixon stuff, which you guys know I kind of rave about the turf interaction on the ZX7s. The Apex Pro turf interaction was actually really good. The divot size a little bigger, and again, like I explained, it was kind of a weird, inch of dirt and then frozen ground. But divot wise, it was a little larger. I mean, it was noticeable. It was probably like 20% bigger in terms of the divot. In terms of where I got in and where it exited compared to the ZX7s, but overall it wasn't too bad. It didn't feel like it was really digging hard, and like I said, it got through the turf pretty well. Just it didn't come out, kind of get itself out as quickly as the Srixons do. But like I said, the misses on it definitely carried a little farther than ZX7. I mean, you're going to get a little forgiveness out of it with that hotter face, that two-piece design or that multi-piece design. And like I said, the performance of it was really good. I was really impressed with how high and far those things flew, and really how easy they were to hit for a pro level iron. They're just easy to hit. So sound and feel I still give to the Srixon. That one-piece forge is just hard to beat. But the Apex Pro isn't bad. I mean, it's definitely a little louder. It's a little clickier, but it's not it's not anything horrible, and it's actually better outdoors than it is in the range when you're in like a covered range area off a mat. The sound is definitely amplified there because out on the course, like I said, it felt a little firmer. It had a little more click, but it definitely is nothing that it's definitely well reduced from being in the range. So overall, Apex Pro really good performer. So if you're somebody who you hate looking at a big club, you want to look at kind of a player's iron, something compact, thin, top line, all that. But you still, want a little forgiveness, want a little height. You need that. Apex Pro is definitely worth looking at. So I was pretty impressed. Hit a handful of shots of that thing, and like I said, it was kind of. I mean, it was really nice to hit. Like I said, the miss hits on it went pretty well. Hit a couple off the toe that still carried farther than I thought. Came up just short of the green and then stayed on line pretty decent. So. Like I said, overall a really good iron for somebody looking for that smaller package. Still has some performance. Looks like a player's iron. So that was fun. And then the other thing I brought out was, which is something I kind of didn't really think about in terms of playing, but the Mizuno M-Craft putters. So if you don't know, I mean, everybody knows Mizuno irons. Forged irons. They also make a very, very nice putter line. So they've got the new M-Craft putters. So there's a handful of models here. I had the V, as they call it, which is kind of a slant neck, really stubby slant neck mallet. And it's pretty traditional, just single sight line. It's basically, I'm trying to think what it kind of looks like. Kind of like a Toulon Atlanta a little bit. But basically just, rounded back edges. Kind of a square, kind of a bigger squared off shape, but kind of it looks like a mallet, but really wider front to back, really long flange, single sight line, and then just a milled face with probably a pretty average milling to it. I wouldn't say it's crazy shallow, but it's on the shallower side, and just a really simple design, just a kind of a classic, kind of a satin chrome, and overall just a really simple putter, but a really solid putter. I was pretty impressed. It's got two interchangeable weights on the sole, which I actually put the heavier ones in. I think there were 8-gram weights in there. I put the 13s in just because I play my putters so short. I'm like a 33-inch putter guy, and it was just kind of easier or it just kind of made that thing feel a little better. I did slap a Stability Tour shaft in there, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you can probably see where there's some tip prep on there because I pulled it out of a plumber's neck hosel putter and slapped it into this slant neck. But so there's a little wear on the bottom, but it doesn't bother me too much. And it's like I said, I like those shafts, so I slapped it in there. But yeah, it's basically made from 1025 carbon steel, and it's basically it's a mallet with some toe hang. And they make it in 3 colors. This, like I said, I have the chrome one here. There's also like kind of that it's almost like an anodized blue color, and then there's also like a dark, like almost black finish as well. So you have kind of those options. But overall, it's a really good feeling putter. It's super responsive. It's a little firmer than I thought it would be in terms of getting a little click off there. Now I played 2 different golf balls, and I can talk about that a little later as well. But I played 2 different golf balls, both brand new. One definitely noticeably firmer than the other, and with this putter, it was really easy to tell. I mean, you basically, as soon as you hit putts, you knew exactly where you hit it on the face. Center strikes were really solid. Offered just a decent amount of click, maybe a little bit more than my Toulon Chicago. Not a ton though, and like I said, that the milling is not crazy deep. So I think it's anytime you have a face that's a little shallower milling, you tend to have a little more audible sound, as well as you tend to get a little more feedback from it. But anytime you missed it a little bit, which my miss is typically off the heel, and you could tell immediately as soon as you hit it, you could kind of just feel and hear that ball missed center. And, in terms of forgiveness, it's a pretty forgiving putter. I wouldn't say it's on par with some of the bigger, high MOI mallets, but the ball stayed on line pretty well. And, the distance rollout, you did, it did roll out less on those strikes. Like I said, more noticeable than, say, like a Spider or an Odyssey 10, something like that. It definitely, would roll out less, and it would kind of go offline just a little bit more. But nothing crazy. I think you'd expect it with, a blade style putter. They're not made to be crazy high MOI, crazy forgiving. So, you kind of expect that. But the thing that's great with it is just like the distance control and the feel when those center strikes. Like every time you center striked it, you knew pretty much this is how far it's going, and you felt immediately that you hit it on the center. And that type of responsiveness in a putter like this is, I think, what really sells it and what people want out of a putter from Mizuno. So really overall, I was really impressed with the putter. Like I said, the greens were kind of crap, so I didn't really make any putts, but everything that I missed, I pretty much knew, as the ball kind of hopped and bounced and, wiggled around on the green, you knew you hit a decent putt, you had some good speed on it. You could kind of tell those things. And like I said, this thing performed really well. Like I said, the distance control on it was really good, especially for like lag putts. I mean, when if you had something where you're front of the green, pins in the back, those like 30, foot pluses, which 30 feet at Maple Lane is probably about as big as putt you'll ever get, because the greens are pretty tiny there. But, putts like that were really easy to kind of, when you hit it, you knew, that you got it there. It was just a matter of, did you read it right? And like I said, it was really, really repeatable, putt after putt. So if you're somebody who really, you're looking for something that offers really good responsiveness, really good feel, and you want some good distance control, I mean, the M-Craft series from Mizuno is really good. Like I said, the shape is really easy on the eye. It's like I said, a pretty simple design, and honestly, like I'm not as much a fan, as big of a fan of brighter silver putters like this. But there was no glare issues, anything like that. Like I said, it's a pretty heavy satin finish, so there was no glare issues, anything like that. Single sight line on the flan, which is really long, which I like. I mean, I'm kind of a single sight line guy. And the longer, sometimes the better for me. And this putter, I felt like I lined it up really well. It was easy to line up. I never felt like in my hand I was just kind of guessing and kind of moving it around, trying to figure out, was that, lined up to the target or to the cup. It was just really easy to kind of set it down and use. Like with the toe hang, as much as I kind of lean towards face balance putters, I've been messing more with these slant neck type mallets that have a little toe hang on them. Last year I used an Odyssey Triple Track 7 for a little bit, or Triple Track 7S. And I think with my stroke, which doesn't have a lot of arc to it, it's pretty straight back, straight through. These still offer a good rotation through. I mean, the toe still does kind of swing shut at impact, and it's still easy to control. I never felt like I was hitting anything left at target, anything like that, or right at target for that matter. And I think honestly, sometimes these putters kind of make me add a little arc to my stroke, which I don't think hurts at all. But yeah, overall it was a really good putter. I think they make a handful of styles here for these M-Crafts. Like I said, this is the V, which like I said is pretty traditional. And then they also make a handful of other ones. They make one that's kind of like an Odyssey 7 style look. then they have, I think, just kind of a traditional blade as well. Yeah, it's kind of got I guess this is the 5, and then there's a 4. And the 4 is kind of a long flanged blade. So, and then they have the one, the 2, the M-Craft 2 is probably the most traditional one, which is, you're basically kind of, Newport 2. It's kind of a mix between Newport and Newport 2. The bumpers are kind of rounded, but they're not crazy, but they're not really rounded like a Newport. Whereas, like the Newport 2, which is super squared off and all that. So, but they've got a bunch of them. But the M-Craft, like I said, really, really solid if you're looking for something with great feel and good sound and all that. Like I said, it won't be the crazy softest putter you've ever hit. But if you like a little click and you like that audible feedback, Mizuno's known for making great feeling irons, and it translates over to the putters as well. So M-Craft 5 or the V, whichever. I guess I've been calling it the wrong name all week, but it was really good. I enjoyed it. I think today I'll probably take out the Odyssey just so I can kind of mix it up. But I have a feeling this putter will definitely make an appearance in my bag at least some point this year to go over when the greens get back to normal speeds and smooth again. It'll be really, I think this putter will really shine a little more at that point. But so far, I think it's earned another shot in the bag, and we'll give it that. That's for sure. So it's definitely a great putter there, and it was fun to use. So now when I was out there, I actually played 2 different golf balls. So I'm actually gonna grab them. Hold on one second. Ooh. I didn't prepare myself, so so it's pretty interesting. So I played 2 different golf balls out there, both brand new 2021 ones, or 2021 golf balls. And the first one I played was that I was kind of excited for was basically Callaway's Chrome Soft X or Chrome Soft X LS, which is the low spin version. So it was definitely something I was kind of excited. It was something different. I've recently, it's funny. I played, I was a big Callaway guy for a long time, and then when Chrome Soft kind of got into its latest, or one of its more later versions, I for whatever reason, I just didn't hit it great. And I don't know why that was, but I just didn't hit it well. And then, Chrome Soft X, I was kind of hit and miss on. And I think it was just because it spun a lot. And especially, off the tee and stuff, I never found as much control with it as I would have liked. But, yeah, the Chrome Soft LS, or Chrome Soft XLS, it's a long name, is their newest ball out. And basically it's a Chrome Soft X with low spin. And it's a ball that kind of came from some tour feedback and stuff like that. It's a, what is it? Is it a 3-piece, or is it a 4-piece ball? So it's got, basically I think it's got a urethane cover on it. And then, like I said, 4-piece ball. It's interesting because for a Chrome Soft, if you've ever played a Chrome Soft ball or the Chrome Soft X, they definitely are soft. Like when you hit them, especially with putters, wedges, anything like that, they definitely have a soft feel to them. Softer than pretty much any tour type product out there. They definitely have a softer feel to them than anything out there. This is much different. It it definitely has a much firmer feel to it. And it's funny because I threw a sleeve to my buddy John, who was playing with me, and he plays a lot of Chrome Soft, just in his regular game. It's a ball he plays a lot of. And the first shot he hit with it was like, wow, that's really firm. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I thought too. As soon as I hit it with a wedge, it definitely had a firmer feel than any other Chrome Soft product that I've hit ever. I guess if you go back, it's not as firm as some of like the old Tour IZ and what was it, like the Tour Black and Tour Silver or whatever they were. It's kind of like the old Chrome before they went to Chrome Soft, when it was just Chrome. It has a firmer feel like that, which actually isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just different. It was just not expected. So it's definitely got a firmer feel to it. You can feel it immediately, especially with the short irons. Driver, long irons, the top end of the bag, you don't notice that feel so much. But down, wedges, putter, all that, you're definitely gonna notice that that the ball has that firmer feel to it and has a little more click to it. Like I said, I was using this Mizuno putter. and the first thing you notice is, it had a little click to it. And usually with the chrome soft type products, it pretty much just comes off the face, and I wouldn't, with almost no noise. So definitely noticed that. And like I said, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, because I think sometimes if you get into some of those combinations where you use, like if you got a white hot OG putter and then you use a chrome soft ball and all that, sometimes you just lose a lot of feel putting. And I think a ball like this could give you some of that back with with a soft insert putter like that. But the ball is actually really good. It was a ball I hit really well. I played basically 6 or 7 holes with it, and then I switched over. And honestly, it was actually a really easy ball to hit. It is pretty low spin, especially off the tee. It seems to go pretty straight. It cut through the wind really well, which most Callaway balls do. Their hex pattern tends to be really good through the wind, but it cut through the wind really well. It was a pretty flat trajectory. Nothing ever ballooned or rised. And honestly, I think it did reduce some of that draw and fade spin. I mean, I hit so many more straight balls than I thought I was going to hit out there, just because beginning of the year, all that. But I hit a lot of really straight balls, and or just slight bit of draw, slight bit of fade. That I think this ball being such low, or being lower spin, especially off for the top end of the bag, it really did bring some of that spin down and stay pretty flat. Ball flight overall was pretty mid, I would say, to mid high. It wasn't as high as Chrome Soft or Chrome Soft X. I didn't think. For me, it kind of flew a little lower than that. It was, like I said, I kind of compare it more to like, I guess Pro V1 as opposed to Pro V1X in terms of flight. It was, like I said, more penetrating. And like I said, again, I think noticing it more on the top end of the bag because it's lower spin. Around the green, it had really predictable control. I mean, it didn't stop as hard as Chrome Soft X does, or X does. And again, I haven't compared it on a full, really nice green yet. But even the greens there being softer and a little longer, it had a little bit of release to it. And especially with those kind of just off the green type shots where you maybe open the face to the touch and you nip it really well, and it kind of hits that green and just checks up immediately. It still had some check, but it released a little bit. And when I played Chrome Soft versus Chrome Soft X last year, I felt like Chrome Soft X definitely would hit and really bite harder on that shot. But like I said, the ball flight came out with wedges a little flatter, a little lower, and it still held the green. There was nothing there. Like I said, that first shot I hit into the first green, I actually spun it back, and that was like that 75-yard or something like that shot. Hit it perfectly clean, and it hit the green, spun back a little bit, and this ball isn't anything that you have to worry about releasing 20 feet or anything like that. This thing definitely has some control. It's just if you're used to playing, say, Chrome Soft X, you may see a little more release to it than that. It may be a few feet more, which I think is easily adjustable too. You could easily figure out, okay, I just, I landed here instead of there, and I end up in the same spot pretty close to the hole, anything like that. But it's a really consistent ball. Like I said, I mean, every shot from tee to green, you kind of knew, when you hit it, you knew where it was going. And like I said, it was even a little straighter, because there were certain shots that I was like, yep, that's going to go a little left, that's going to ride the tree line. And it actually stayed basically left side of the fairway. And it was kind of shocking to see it kind of go there. Balls that you hit draws with seemed to like run forever. I hit, what hole was it? It was like a driving iron on like the 6th hole or something like that. And I hit that new level NLU off the tee, because it's kind of a short par 4 and it dog legs around the left. And all you want to do is kind of get at the top of the hill and drop a wedge onto the green. So I just hit that, and it was a nice little draw. And I was walking up to it, and it was just like, man, this is kind of a ways up here. And even one of the guys we played with, who he hit driver, caught a tree limb, and he was a decent hitter, but he hit a tree limb and it fell down. It bounced out, fell down, and he was like, wow, what did you hit there? And I was like, well, he's like, did you hit, like an iron? I was like, yeah, I hit 4 iron. But I'm like, you did hit the tree. But even so, like, I mean, it was definitely a ball that's got some distance to it at the top end of the bag. But again, hitting iron shots, all that, they were really consistent. I didn't notice any real difference in yardages. When I hit a 6 iron, 6 iron went pretty much 6 iron. Well, 6 iron went a little farther since it was Apex Pro. But when you hit an 8 iron, it pretty much went 150 to 155. It was the shots that I was hitting. So I think for this ball, for somebody who generates a ton of spin, especially with their driver and 3-wood, things like that, that top end of the bag, and really has maybe trouble with stuff ballooning up and all that, I think this ball is great. It'll help you kind of bring that ball flight down a little bit, reduce some of that ballooning, that spin. But also, too, I think for the player who fights that slice or draw, it's going to spin a little less. You're going to get a little more accuracy, consistency and accuracy out of this ball off the tee. I think it's definitely straighter than Chrome Soft X. It's straighter than Chrome Soft, I thought, while still having that ability to check it around the greens. I mean, like I said, will Chrome Soft X bite harder on the greens? Sure. But I think that Chrome Soft LS will just be, give yourself 3 holes when you kind of learn how far does it release. And I think you're probably good. Maybe 9 holes, you take it out, you kind of learn how it releases and the shots you're going to hit with it. And I think you're good because, like I said, it still does have a good amount of control. And if you like a firmer ball, and Chrome's, the Chrome Soft stuff to you hasn't been a big thing just because of it's too soft for you. This definitely is noticeably firmer. So the first putts you hit with it on the putting green before you go play, you'll notice immediately that it's a firmer ball. So overall, I really like the Chrome Soft XLS. It's a good ball. And like I said, I think this thing has some players that it will definitely fit. So like I said, if you're somebody who, like I said, generates a ton of spin, off the driver and all that, it's definitely worth looking for. And like I said, for me, it was kind of that mid to mid high ball flight. It was definitely a little lower than I thought it was going to be, but like I said, still had a ton of control and definitely straighter off the tee than most Callaway balls that I've hit recently. So. Big, I'm a fan of Chrome Soft XLS. I'll probably play, like I should have 3 more sleeves here. So, when my league starts up and things start getting nicer, I'll definitely, put those back in the bag and play them again just to see how they play, in the, when things get back to normal and the greens are especially back to normal. So, the other ball that I played was the brand new 2021 Srixon Z Star. So the Z Star is a ball that I've actually played a lot over the years. Probably the past, 5-6 years. I've played a good amount of Z Star, and the Z Star Yellow tends to be a ball that I my go-to in the fall when the leaves start falling because it's a little easier to find sometimes. But been a big fan of the Z Star for a long time. This Z Star, brand new for 2021. Another 3-piece ball, and it's basically it's basically a new version of the Z Star. If you played the Z Star before, this thing's going to be pretty much really similar. I would say, in terms of softness, I may think it's actually a touch softer than the previous gen. And I know some guys mentioned that with some previous Z Star XV, there was some kind of issues with a seam on them. I never noticed it. I didn't play a ton of Z Star last year, but I did play it. I never noticed the issue with the seam, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but there was something with the seam. Nothing here. I mean, I played 6 holes, something like that, with the same ball, and it basically, other than being a little dirty, held up just fine. So I don't think, like I said, I haven't noticed anything with the durability, and especially on that seam with it yet. And again, it's 6 holes, but like I said, nothing yet, so I can at least address that right out of the gate. But yeah, 3-piece design, and definitely a softer ball, especially compared to Chrome Soft XLS, hitting them side by side. Definitely a little softer, and you notice it immediately on the green with the wedges. It does check up just a little harder. It definitely has a little more spin around the green. The flight on it is actually is maybe just a hair softer, hair higher for me than Chrome Soft XLS. I know that the Z Star kind of labels it as a mid-launch kind of ball. I think that's pretty accurate. It's pretty close because, like I said, I thought Chrome Soft was pretty much mid to maybe slightly mid-high. I would say this is that same kind of category. It came out, the ball comes off there hot. It feels really solid, but still soft. But the big thing with the Z Stars, I think it holds the green really well. I mean, you hit it in there, and for me, I mean, wedges, I can still hit them high. They seem to spin a lot, and that ball is going to check up pretty much instantly. I mean, it definitely has a few feet less release than Chrome Soft XLS, which I don't think that's an apples to apples comparison. I think Chrome Soft XLS would go more against Z Star XV. So in terms of comparison, sure, but they're not apples to apples. But the Z Star is like I said, I really like playing it. Like I said, I love the feel of it. I think it's like that really good combination of being soft yet still being solid and firm enough to get some response out of it, especially with your wedges. You know, if you hit it a little off the toe, you know you hit it off the toe, but it doesn't just like rattle the fillings out of your mouth, which is to me really nice, especially if you're in northern New Plays and when it starts to get cool. You don't get that really harsh vibration out of there, and you know that part of it is I'm a big fan of. But yeah, overall, I think distance-wise, you know, off the tee, definitely long. I want to say that, you know, it held up just as well as Chrome Soft XL. I mean, I'm kidding them, you know, that same day. It's definitely still long. It definitely spins a little more. I mean, I wouldn't say there was rise in the ball or anything like that, but you can definitely tell, you know, especially with like a 3-wood, if you're hitting down on it off the turf, you know, you can see a little rise in that ball because it is a higher spinning ball. But again, it's not crazy high spin where, like, I found like Bridgestone Tour B XS last year, I was hitting it so much shorter because of that spin. This ball, you still get a good amount of distance out of it, and it still really goes. But yeah, the apex there was probably a little sharper. I mean, in terms of angle of descent, was probably a little bit steeper with Z Star as compared to Chrome Soft XLS when I was out there. I have the XVs, I just haven't hit them yet. I knew I wasn't going to play enough holes to bring like 3 balls out there to play. So I have the new XVs, which I'll play as well. But it's not the ball I typically play. But yeah, the Z Star, like I said, it's you know, like I said, if you play the Z Star before, you know, the feel is really good. It's soft, but it's still, you know, it's still solid. It's not mushy or anything like that. I think the distance on it off the tee is really good. Cover wise, it spins like crazy. I thought the durability was great. Like I said, I played 6 holes the same ball. It's really not chewed up or scuffed. I mean, I didn't hit a cart path or, you know, didn't hit it into the trees or anything like that. I mean, it was just normal play. But overall, the ball held up really well. It, you know, other than being kind of dirty, it looks to be just as good as I took it out of the box. So, you know, overall, I really like the Z Star. On a cool day, it felt great. So, you know, putting with it, soft. You know, just like I said, overall, if it's a tour ball, a little softer feel to it that you're looking for, I think Z Star is a great combination of, you know, feel, distance, and, you know, a bunch of greenside control. So, you know, like I said, this one here, if you hit that little kind of just off the green open face shot, that thing was going to kind of 1 or 2 hop and stop, or, you know, really check hard and maybe just release a little bit. And it's really consistent. You can kind of expect that every single time you hit it, you know, as long as you don't chunk it, which I think I did at least once or twice. I think I hit one crazy thin, and I was like, "Oh, that's dead!" And it actually held on to the back fringe. And I think one of the guys I was playing was like, "How did that happen?" I was like, "Well, when you blade it sometimes like that, you get a little extra spin out of it, and it held the fringe, which I was kind of happy with." And you know, like I said, I thought it was for sure going to be 1 hop 10 yards over the green and chip it back on again. So Z Star is really good. That one's, you know, that's one I'm going to definitely play more this year. You know, when I get out there and the weather definitely gets warmer, I'll be definitely playing more of the Z Star just because, you know, like I said, it's a ball that fits my kind of game really well. I like the feel. I like how it plays. So, yeah, it's really solid. So both those balls really great, and you know, it was fun to get out there and hit them. So the last thing I will talk about, which you know, I guess is, if you've been following me on Instagram, you kind of saw yesterday that I posted my SIM2 Max head or driver that I got in, and I did a MySIM2 order, which, if you're not familiar with MySim Max or MySim is basically their custom program where you can custom order your SIM Max or SIM Max Draw in basically a bunch of different colors, a bunch of different you know, options in terms of colors to fit your needs, wants, favorite school, favorite whatever sports team. But I was really debating hard between going something really obnoxious color wise, like every piece is a different color, or just going straight black, murdered out. And I went the straight black, murdered out. And I do have to say, it's a pretty cool looking driver. So basically, you can change where the front part, right near the face, you know, the top line is typically you know, TaylorMade's chalk color or white. You can have the option of white or black. So I went with the black, and it's kind of you know, it's a gloss black, and it goes pretty well with the newer, darker carbon fiber crown that are on the Sim2s. And then the little stripes on the back of the head or on the side of the head from a dress, you pick your option of a bunch of colors of those. I just went, I think it's like a dark gray. I think they called it stealth. The forged aluminum ring around the back, which is typically blue on the SIM2s. You can pick, I think it's black, silver, green, orange, or green, orange, red, yellow, light blue. They have a bunch of different colors. I went black on that. And then the graphics on the bottom on the carbon there come in a bunch of different colors. I went again that kind of dark gray option there. And the only thing that actually has any bit of color to it would be the injected face port, the speed injected face, which I went a little bit green, pay homage to my boys at MSU, who may actually make the NCAA tournament, basketball tournament. So that's pretty wild after a rough year. But yeah, it ended up being a pretty cool look. So if you want, follow me on Instagram at Club Junkie Pod. And I'm going to have some more photos. I did kind of look a little unboxing video, which is insanely hard to do, trying to hold a phone and open a box and pull everything out with one hand. But I did a crappy unboxing video, and then I will do some more images of this driver, which is pretty cool. It is pretty interesting. You could definitely tell these are made a little differently than the retail heads. And the reason I say that is, there's a little bit of things where you can see, these are probably put together somewhere else, I don't know, by hand or whatever, but, like mine has a little bit of epoxy that kind of creeped, where they put the aluminum, the forged aluminum rear rail where it meets the titanium front. Like there's a little epoxy that made it onto the carbon. And there's a little epoxy on the very top line right near the hosel that kind of leaked over onto the paint a little bit. So definitely a little interesting to see those, and I'm assuming because these are made to order. But yeah, they take a little while right now. I think if you put your order in now, I want to say it's like a month wait at the moment, which kind of stinks. I put my order in, I think January 28th for mine. And it showed up yesterday, so it's it's not a thing that they're I'm assuming they have a bunch of demand because they're not moving quick. But the all black murdered out look is pretty cool. I'm excited to hit it. I ordered it with a Project X hazardous smoke green shaft in it, just because it's a shaft I don't own at the moment. I was debating because I was gonna go all black, so I was gonna do either Ventus black, something like that, and I was like, well, I already have a Ventus black, so I'll put that in there. So I did the hazardous smoke green, and it's kind of cool because the green matches the little speed injected port, so it all kind of works together. But yeah, they have all the crazy options out there in terms of what you want. They make their grip in a bunch of different colors, so that Golf Pride Z grip that's on their stock, they make it in a bunch of colors that can match or contrast the head. I just went straight black, I think, on mine, just to kind of keep it all murdered out. But it was kind of fun. I mean, the hardest thing is debating what you want to do. If you want to go all murdered out black, great. That's simple to do. But, if you're somebody who wants, some school colors or, your favorite sports team, whatever it is, you can sit there for a while and on the MySIM, configure, just go through and just start messing around and adding parts and whatever. And it's kind of fun to go through and mess around and put it together. And it took me longer than I thought because, like I said, I had two designs that I screenshotted and was looking at. One was, like I said, every color under the sun. Every piece was, a different color and all that. And then, I ended up sitting there saying, you know what, I think people would really want to see the murdered out all black version. And here it is. So like I said, if you want to hop over to my Instagram, again, at Club Junkie Pod, check it out. It's a pretty cool look. It ended up looking pretty sweet. So I think tailor-made for that because it's pretty cool. So that may make it out there to the course tomorrow. We'll see. Or today. But we'll see. So anyway, I guess that's enough. Enough of rambling on today. If you have any questions, anything like that, again, hit me up on Instagram. Let me know. I'm also on Twitter at Club Junkie Pod. I don't use that as much, but I'm on there. But like I said, hit me up, send me a DM, anything like that. I love chatting with everybody. And I think my Q&As, I think I'm going to start doing them Thursday, at least for now, until my golf league starts. And then I'll probably have to go back to Wednesday. I don't know. We'll see. I might try to do it tomorrow while I play, do some Q&A stuff. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna see how it works. Like I said, usually my Wednesdays I'm not playing, but like I said, Wednesdays will probably still be my day. So anyway, hey guys, have a good week. Hopefully get out and play some golf. Hopefully get to the range, something, especially if you're in the north and it's starting to get warm enough. So Get out there, play, have fun, and like I said, if you have any questions, anything, hit me up. You know where to find me, at Club Junkie Pod. So anyway, we'll talk to you guys next week. See you later.